Hi there, Dead Idle Boy here, back with another video, and this time it is from Daily Race B. We're on our US account, we're racing from the back. We haven't set a lap time because, quite frankly, sometimes it is more fun just to race from the back and see what happens. Watch the carnage unfold, try and pick our way through the field of cars in the walls. So, that was the plan, but as they say, plans very often do not go accordingly in GranTurismo. So, will this be the case? I think you know the answer, but it's very interesting to see how it unfolds and just what is going on out there in Daily Race B at times. So we've only got 5 laps. The lap times are just over a minute and a half, so not a lot of time to really make our way through too much of the field. So we're really going to have to rely on carnage if we want to get right up there anywhere near the front anyway. So turn 1, we're just going to sit back, we're going to see if everybody makes it through safely, and they do. So as you can see, it's a WRX fest. This is the dominant car around here, although the Alpha can compete. It is really powerful in acceleration, so it is another car that was very commonly used, but not anywhere near as commonly used as the WRX, which just had all the grip in the world in 4-wheel drive, although it does occasionally tend to enjoy a little snap if you hit a curb at an awkward spot. So not quite the easiest car to drive, but generally speaking it's dominant out there in Group 4 for these types of races. So you can see the car in front there had a little bit of contact with the car in front of it, going through the left-hander there, but nothing major. Everybody survives, everybody backs off. But this is a dive bomber's paradise, the hairpin at the end of the lap before we head down the hill. So I was thinking about making a move up the inside, but we decided against it. We go wide, we can see if we can get the run down the outside, but we kind of run out of space there as it closes. The door was closed unceremoniously ahead of us, but all good, nothing wrong with that. As we head down the hill, complete the first lap, and we have made a grand total of 0 positions. Absolutely no carnage, although you can see there a big puff of smoke on the left hand side and a yellow flag, and there's somebody in the wall. We're going to pick up 1 spot, and there's another car in the wall. I believe they are coming together, and it didn't work out well for either of them. So we can see some more door banging on up ahead there, and going through this section 2x2 is not going to be advisable for anybody. And as you can see there, they all kind of just realise that and back out. The car in front picks up a half-second track limit penalty for its trouble. So hopeful then we can pick up at least 1 more spot on this lap if we can stay tight enough behind and make the most of the penalty area. So coming around this left-hander, we close right up there. We make a little bit of contact there as they slowed down a lot more than I was expecting, so we kind of back off to give them the room. No harm done, except a little bit of bumper damage for myself. But yeah, you can see the difference in skill levels. You know, sometimes the braking areas sort of show that when they brake a lot earlier than you expect, and that's not their fault. That's just the way racing can be sometimes. So we get into the braking zone here. You can see from the radar we've got a car on the outside of us, and we've got this car ghosting back out perfectly in front of us, which was just my luck. So we're going to have to sit behind the Alpha. You can see its superior acceleration there as it gets away from me. So we've made up another couple of spots, so up to P13 now. So 3 spots all in all again. Not a lot though. We need to do a bit more work if we're going to try and catch anywhere near that top 10. The Alpha there just going over to the left hand side, taking a strangely defensive line considering how far back I was, but gets yourself a little bit out of shape there coming round the corner, and got a run on him, but it's just not viable to try and go for the overtake round this section of the track here. We can cut the corner, but you're not really going to get past unless you're prepared to send somebody to the shadow realm in the process. So just taking your time, just having to be very patient here, because we're clearly faster than the player in front, and he's going to just take the lines that he feels are necessary to stop us getting past, but it's just going to be a case of patience for us. So we're going to try and get the run out of this corner here, but acceleration in the Alpha is just that little bit too great that it stops you really getting a really decisive run out of a corner like that. So we're just going to gain, like I said, patience being the key word in this lap. And so we come through the tunnel here. You can see there's a ghosted car, well, car 7 a penalty there, and this was the first moment where I realised this was no normal driver in front of me as he tried to kind of squeeze me into the wall there to avoid me making the run up the inside. So I was very wary now about his behaviour. It was just an uncalled for piece of driving from him there. So he tried to, I mean, a little bit of blocking he can handle, but he really did try and put me in the wall there. So he's going to go over to the left hand side now, take a defensive line. We're going to take a kind of position in the middle of the track, and he's just going to start ramming me off the track and into the wall. Luckily for us, we keep the car pointing forward, basically because the wall saved me, and we make the run up the inside of him. So we kind of gained the position, but I was, you know, shocked though more than anything else, and I was just, yeah, I couldn't believe what he just tried to do to me, considering I've never had any dealings with him in the past. I had not had any run-ins with him previously in the race. And we're going to skip forward now, because that was basically the end of the race. I got up to P10 after that, and there was such a big gap between me and the rest of the field that there's nothing really more I could do. But we got the top 10 despite the attempts of the car Ninja trying to basically end my race for me. So we're going to have a look at some of his driving. Now, this was lap 1, and he started up in P5, and there you can see he goes so defensive to avoid being overtaken there that he actually runs the Subaru off the track and ran himself off the track in the process as well, but he held his position. But then he lets off the acceleration there and tries to take the Subaru out, the Brazilian and the Subaru out there, which was just bizarre. And here again, lap 2, he was so determined that this guy wasn't going to get past him coming through sector 1 that he just starts driving into him, so that it made it impossible for the guy to overtake, and it causes havoc behind him, as you can see. And then if we go up to the final lap, you can see here where he just inexplicably let off the accelerator and let somebody past, and then, well, you'll see coming round here that he then just decides to try and turn into this guy on the apex. And finally, his last act of the race was to try and block this guy in the braking zone, although it just ended up with him being sent to the Shadow Realm. So all in all, a bit of madness here. But if we look then after that, you can see here where the incident with us occurs. So coming up to the braking zone, you can see there he tries to squeeze me into the wall, just inexplicably for no reason. It's not as if we had any coming together in the race before that. And then on the run down the hill, like I said, I was already a bit wary about the behaviour of him, and you can see here as we come down through the kink in the left hand side, he takes, he goes to take the racing line, so I move over to get the slipstream. He then goes defensive, so I just move to the middle of the track to try and keep him narrow going into turn 1, and then he just starts ramming me off. And if it wasn't for the wall, my race was absolutely over there. So yeah, it was just madness all round from him, and it's the kind of player that the game just needs to get rid of somehow, because whatever the punishment is for him there in terms of SR down, etc., it's just not going to be enough, because players like that are just hell-bent on ruining other people's races. But there you go, another dirty driver exposed, I suppose you could say. And well, it is what it is. We're not making this up. These are our real life experiences out on track, minding our own business and coming up against some of the absolute worst in the game. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that, or found it entertaining at least. But if you did, then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all on the next one. Goodbye.